Hey class, strangers, I haven't seen all of you in a long time. I hope you're all enjoying your student teaching. Here's my video sent to you from the lovely BX or the Bronx. Alright, so my first placement was at PS 333 or Manhattan School for Children. Now it's in District 3 on the Upper West Side, and it's a lottery school whereby they draw kids specifically from families in that area. And there's an interesting distribution of the students. I have one student who would tell me that she was tired because she was doing laundry for her family until 4 in the morning. And then I have another student who would tell me that he was tired because he was jet lagged from coming back from France that weekend. Alright, so while I was at MSC, I taught an anecdote writing unit that students would be using for their high school application essays, which was interesting because they were working on their portfolio at the same time that I was working on my portfolio, right? So I had them start by, doing some gathering exercises. I did station teaching, where each table was a different emotion, and they'd go around and write a time that they felt that strong emotion, or if they hadn't felt it or couldn't think of one, I had them, make up one just to practice writing with that emotion. And then I had them, gather information about meaningful times in their life or people that had an impact on them, etc., just so they would have something to write about. And then over the next 2 weeks, we focused on picking one of those moments and then turning that into a meaningful anecdote where the kids reflected about what they learned or how they changed, and this was going to be used in their future high school application essay. Alright, so then my second placement was at Harvey Milk High School, which is an LGBTQ school in the Lower East Side, right below 14th Street, and near Astor Place. Now, it's a transfer school where students who, either were harassed, bullied, etc., or faced some sort of discrimination, or, pretty much were just having difficulties at their home school that warranted a change, apply to get in, and then they have a trial. Alright, so while there, I taught a study of the media's manipulation of political issues versus the American public. So we learned, first of all, the strategies that various media outlets use, episodic framing, agenda setting, thematic framing, and how certain things are covered and certain things aren't, and also more specifically how they're covered. So we compared, for instance, Fox News' coverage of Occupy Wall Street, focusing on the dirt and grime of the protesters, versus RT.com, a notorious left-wing media publication, and how they covered it differently, focusing on how Occupy Wall Streeters were cleaning up the park, or what they were striving for, etc. And then for the culminating assessment for that unit, I had them write their own article where they framed Occupy Wall Street towards some purpose, whether nefarious or otherwise. And they turned out some great articles. One student tried to write the perfect article, completely objectively, with showing both sides, being fair, quoting appropriately, sourcing appropriately, etc. And then one of the students, who actually was pro OWS, wrote a negative article, and it was hilarious. It was well written. The language, extremely hyperbolic. Just a great piece of writing. And then from there, I shifted it to advertising. So as a transition, I focused on the prevalence of advertisements in news publications. So, for instance, the free papers that are available in New York City, like the Metro and the AM New York, are just absolutely riddled with ads. But those same advertisements fund the papers, and that's the only reason they exist. So, we considered the ethical issues behind that, shifted on to advertising ethics in general, advertising in schools, for instance. Schools facing budget cuts and cuts, in teacher, staff, and student activities, and how some dealt with that by advertising. And, whether or not the kids thought that was right, and specifically, when it was, when it wasn't, and how that could be used. Then from there, we studied how advertisements are a reflection of American culture, and how advertisements, manipulate and even at some points create things that we value. How they create, this lack of adequacy, this in us that causes us to buy this product. You're not that beautiful, you're not that skinny. Buy this product and you'll become that. Yay! And then for a culminating assessment, I had the kids create a Prezi, where they picked one of the core values of America that we came up with as a class, say, freedom of expression. And then they analyzed how 5 different companies or products showed that positively, and then how another 5 showed that negatively or manipulated it. And so that's my summary. Thank you for listening and watching me on this lovely TV screen. I hope all of you become wonderful teachers. I'm sure you will, and good luck in your careers. Please stay in touch. Professor Sawyer, thank you for everything that you've taught me. And Alex, I think I'll see you tomorrow.